Still here.
Sorry about that. Now you see people sitting in the corner by themselves. So.
I'm sorry. It's
No,
alright.
you're okay. I'm sorry. I just got in cleaning mode. I'm so sorry.
No worries. No worries. Coffee and water for now.
Alright. You know what you want to order.
We'll do the medical.
How do you want that?
Anywhere.
He's still slightly new, fair warning you, so it might be a little overdone.
Well, tell them take it light.
I gotcha. And then Texas toast, okay?
Yep.
And then anything in your hash brown?
Onions.
Onions?
Yep.
Anything else for that? You have to just check if you want steak sauce.
No. Oh, water. Soon.
Hold the Monaco.
Hey. Hey, Cleron. Good to see you, bud. Head over to Rumble if you can. I know you don't have the ability to make it easy. Thank you.
You want free?
No. Thank you.
The Monaco dinner?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm doing all right. Now, about to buy a bar. It's looking good. Knock on the woods. It's looking good, man. We got to pull the financing, but I don't think. I hope that's not a problem. See, we did the LLC for it. Yeah, so
Just like our little picture.
how are you doing, bud? I know you had some issues, health issues. About these shitty steak and some hash browns and an egg. I just need some food before I go home.
Do you want hot sauce over here?
I hope so. What kind of hot sauce? Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to cut open that and see if it's okay? Because if not, I'll have it.
I think it's good.
Anything else I can get you?
I hope not.
Alright, enjoy. Do you want everything?
You did a good job.
Actually, for a sweet surprise, I love you.
Deepest condolences, everyone, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know if it was expected or not, but deepest condolences. I hope your family handles that well. Sorry to hear that. That's tough, dude. I agree. That's trying to think if I would feel the same way if my mom was gone. I wouldn't, because I have a lot of issues with that woman. Yep. Pot of coffee.
More coffee or not?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No hurry. I understand that, friends. But I've been so separated from my mother that I don't even know how I'm going to respond when she's gone. But yeah, I get it. My mother has been a horrible woman most of her life. But I'm not going to determine how she ends it or what happens. I'll be there. I'll be there at the end. But it's tough. You know. You know what I mean. Toast! Hot, wet, slightly caffeinated. Really hope that dude wasn't doing this when he cooked the steak. Yep.
Anything else I can get you?
I don't think so.
Alright, here is that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
killed this plate.
If it's hard, I have to meet you up in the front.
All right, cool. $4. Let's do this. I'm going to take the drive home.
Oh, is everything?
Very good.
16:28 is your total today. Go ahead whenever you're ready. You want a receipt?
Nope.
You're all set then.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Two.
Thank you.
I feel so much better after eating. Yeah, if I see. Jody, what up? How's your team doing, dude? I haven't even looked at it. I haven't even looked at mine either.
In our history today is emblematic of a battle of good and evil that is occurring in the heavens. And the two of them are sort of operating in lockstep. And this has been going on for thousands of years.
Dude, I've checked the scanner several times and nothing's going on in Toledo.
Where they're ongoing. And
Haven't heard anything.
at the very beginning of the tour, a Corinthian column cap that they've recognized as being from the city of David because it is depicted in one of the scrolls. So they were able to match it up, and that's when they realized that the city of David is not within the walls of Jerusalem, it's on the outside. And then as they were so excited about it, they began to excavate a little bit, with a little more purpose. So like the city of David is not within the walls of Jerusalem. They had excavated so much within the walls, and they were shocked by the fact that they hadn't discovered the city of David. They're like, why haven't we discovered it? We're at the level in our excavations where we should be seeing signs, and we have seen no signs. So when they found it, they immediately began pushing out And as they pushed out, they found more and more. So I was able to, as a regular American person, walk on the same stones that Jesus Christ and his disciples walked on, and that so many of the other people in the Bible, historical figures, were
Waffle
these are the places where they were, where they bought food, where they ate, where the stories of the Bible occurred. And then we come through a wall. He types in a little code. A steel door opens. We walk out. We're in a parking plaza. And there's a lady there coming out of her house with her cell phone. And we're walking through. It's a tour group. And then we go through another metal door. And we descend a little bit. And we're back, under the city. And the cars are driving overhead of us on the road. But underneath, we are walking around in the excavated ruins that are currently being excavated right now as we speak. I can't wait to see the Dragon's Prophecy. I'm concerned about the roughness of the October 7th scene. We learned so much while we were there, direct testimonials from the family members of people who are being held hostage and people who lost their loved ones on October 7th. And it was brutal. I've never been on a trip where I've cried that much. I go out of the country and I'm crying, almost every day over what I'm learning. But I needed it. I needed to know these things and to see it firsthand. And this is going to bring all of that to us here. I'm so glad you called in to tell us about what you saw there. Thank you for sharing that. Good to talk to you tonight. Wow. Hour 3 is up next. 866-957-2874 to join the show.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-619-6488 now. Drivers, sorry, I'm not seeing chat at all. Repairs again. This protection is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-619-6488. That's 800-619-6488. What do you have to lose? Call 800-619-6488. Again, 800-619-6488. Shop at now. We're to save you money with Red Pocket Mobile. At Red Pocket, you get wireless service starting at just $10 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data forever. Plus, Red Pocket gives you all 3 major 5G networks to choose from for the best coverage you've ever had. Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier. I see Red Pocket Mobile. Red Pocket Mobile. Oh, Red Pocket Mobile. The IRS finally caught up with Louie. I haven't paid my taxes in 8 years. He was in big trouble. We're going to take your house, garnish your pay. Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. I don't owe the IRS anymore. It was because of Optima Tax. Call Optima now for a free consultation. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you. Call 800-611-8892. 800-611-8892. Optima Tax Relief. Actual client compensated for sharing their experience. Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details. Limited government economic opportunity. We are Sirius XM Patriot. Channel 125. Conservative principles live here. News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Jason Walker. President Trump says Republicans are discussing changes to the Affordable Care Act in talks with the Democrats.
We are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care.
And the president adds the shutdown needs to end now.
Up till now, there hasn't been a great deal of pain. There could be a great deal of pain, but up till now, there hasn't been. I will say this, just hang in there, because I think a lot of good things are going to happen. That's all I can say.
Well, the Senate, meanwhile, voted again Monday evening on dueling measures to fund the government and end the shutdown, but alas, the bills both fell short of the 60 votes needed.
Israel and Hamas meeting for talks.
After 2 years of devastating war in Gaza, there is some hope at a breakthrough. Israel and Hamas are in Egypt meeting with mediators to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's plan. But there is still a lot of questions and uncertainty, and there is no clear way out. While Israel has clobbered its enemies in the Middle East, it hasn't achieved its war goals in Gaza. Hamas has been weakened, but it's not defeated, and there are still hostages that remain there. Hamas has said that it is willing to release the hostages, but it hasn't addressed the issue of disarmament, something that Israel has demanded.
Meteorologists say that a tornado in North Dakota earlier in the summer has been upgraded now to a top of the scale EF5. June 20th twister killed 3 people, and at its largest was more than a mile wide when it touched down. National Weather Service says the tornado had winds in excess of 210 miles per hour. Federal regulators have approved the creation of the Texas Stock Exchange, which is expected to launch about 1 year from right now. Dallas-based exchange does have the backing of a number of very large investment firms around the country. More on these stories at townhall.com. Some big news. Just before Charlie Kirk died, he issued a stark warning of terrifying danger and threats ahead for those who stand for truth. Charlie wrote this in his last published work, the foreword for the new book, Pagan Threat, authored by Pastor Lucas Miles. Charlie said that Pagan Threat could save America. Charlie said you must read, internalize, and share this book. It has the plan to stop the wokeism infecting America. Already a #1 Amazon bestseller, Pagan Threat is available wherever books are sold. Get Pagan Threat free with Newsmax's special offer and save $30. Go online now to paganthreat.com. That's paganthreat.com. Millions are tuning into Newsmax on all major cable systems. They're downloading our free Newsmax app on their smartphones. And they're getting Pagan Threat to see Charlie Kirk's final words. Go today to paganthreat.com. That's paganthreat.com. Supreme Court in a major ruling. The Supreme Court has rejected an appeal from Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein. Trump's administration had urged the High Court to stay out of the case. Lawyers from Maxwell argued she never should have been tried or convicted for a role in luring teen girls to be sexually abused by Epstein. Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison term. Mike Hempen, Washington. Los Angeles Angels are facing a court trial over where that team is responsible for the drug overdose death of one of its players several years ago. Family of pitcher Tyler Skaggs filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the team after he died from an overdose on a team trip to Arlington, Texas in 2019. An Angels official was convicted of providing a fentanyl-laced oxycodone pill to Skaggs that caused his death. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
Mother, wife, Air Force veteran, gun rights advocate. This is Stacey on the Right. Here's your host, Stacey Washington.
Stacey Washington, broadcasting from the Heartland. Go retweet me. I've sent out a bunch of stuff. It's good stuff. Go retweet me. All right. Welcoming into the program, Lance LaRusso, attorney, founder of the Blue Line Lawyer Institute and 2021 National Fraternal Order of Police's Attorney of the Year, author of When Cops Kill and Blue News. Lance, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, we have so much to discuss. Defunding the police has been a disaster, but it is something that Democrats can count as an accomplishment. They've done it all over the country, especially in large blue cities. Crime is up. Dissatisfaction with the police is down. And the police themselves are facing record low numbers, so they don't have enough people to really fill shifts, and they're having to work extra hard. And that's for a population, some of whom really have a negative attitude towards them, not for a good reason, not because of personal interactions, but because they've been taught over the last 10 years that the police are somehow inherently bad. And so now there's a new blueprint, I guess, by the Democrats. Tell us more about this.
They are inherently bad.
It's just an amazing thing to see. It's not only this general idea that law enforcement is a problem, but now what we're seeing is these attacks on federal officers that are just in their jobs. And, it's really amazing. You have federal officers assigned to a certain city,
And they're acting like this is some sort of a new thing. Federal officers were assigned for task forces and assigned for different obligations to cities around the United States on a regular basis. And as we saw in Chicago and some other places, it's now Chicago is complaining that this is not true. But when a citizen calls for help, whoever it is, whether they're visiting or whether they're residents, the police department is supposed to respond. And it is a very, very sad state of affairs if this is indeed true and law enforcement was told to stand down and not support federal law enforcement who were in trouble.
Yeah, that was kind of fucked up.
Wow.
The audio makes it clear.
I'm just wondering, I know you could be told to stand down, but as a law enforcement officer, it seems to me like I would just say, hey, off-duty police, there's some officers in trouble. You're off duty, so maybe you're just driving by there and you assist, right? There has to be something that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that you have to realize, that there's a lot more supervision and monitoring of law enforcement than people realize. Now, the mayor in Chicago has referred to law enforcement as a sickness recently, which is obviously there's no dispute as to where he sits, and it's not just him. The previous mayor was hardly a fan of law enforcement. And you have this report that there was a broadcast where the officers were told to stand down. I'm sure some officers probably did respond, but this is really, really a dangerous fact if you think about this. And if you take the ICE agents and their status out of this, a person calls and says there is disturbance and citizens need assistance, and there's going to be some sort of a judgment call made as to whether or not they were engaged in an activity that would be worthy of a law enforcement response when they're in trouble. That is so antithetical to what law enforcement does. They're supposed to be solving problems. They're supposed to be showing up and keeping the peace, not picking and choosing who should have law enforcement resources.
So what can be done about this? I see President Trump is surging federal resources to Portland and to Chicago, Memphis. I mean, they're obviously they need these resources, but they're resisting. Chicago has said they're going to have ICE-free zones. Lots of headlines out today that are kind of disturbing.
It's not only disturbing, it's just a cacophony of ignorance. It is amazing to listen to someone say, well, we're going to have a city in the United States, but we're not going to have federal law enforcement officers here. Federal law enforcement officers work everywhere in the United States. So I don't know that they failed 8th grade civics, or maybe they just didn't take that class, but you can't tell federal officers where they can and cannot work. Now, the issue about the deployment of the National Guard is kind of an interesting prospect, because what's being touted is the deployment of the National Guard is for the protection of federal facilities. Well, it seems like that is a legitimate use of federal resources. If those facilities are under attack, if those facilities are at risk, and what we're seeing is, skewed reports saying, well, there's just a bunch of people protesting outside. Well, some of those people protesting outside have been known to cause violence and actually are causing violence. So if what the National Guard is doing is, if their mission is just to protect the federal resources, how is that any different than the National Guard troops who were deployed to stand around the Capitol after January of this, after January 6th?
Well, I mean, Democrats don't really care about being hypocrites, so it's good for us to ask and understand that, but it doesn't really make a difference for them. What should people in local policing jurisdictions do about this, thinking through some of the responses that might be undertaken by locals?
Well, one of the things that they need to do is consider, and you asked before, what can be done by the federal government. There is a lot of federal resources that are poured into just about every state and local agency. They receive training, they receive funding, there's grant programs, and then there's task forces that they rely upon. And if that federal support were removed, the communities themselves would feel a palpable difference. So, for instance, you have the National Crime Information Center, that is a database, and everybody hears about NCIC, where you run a car essentially and on the radio, and you can determine, or on a computer, and you can determine whether or not the car is stolen. If departments lose access to that because of federal funding, they cannot effectively police the community. If there is a widespread situation where they require a lot of resources, so for instance, there's a some sort of a sports event or some sort of a national event that attracts a lot of attention, like a Super Bowl, they cannot provide provide security or provide their resources without federal assistance. So I think that's what's been tossed around, is whether or not those agencies are going to lose their federal funding. You know, right now all federal funding is in jeopardy anyway because the government's shut down. So it's just, you know, it's grandstanding, and at the bottom of this whole pyramid of politics is a law enforcement officer doing their job. Nobody has changed the law. The ICE agents are performing a federal function, and when they call for help and say they need assistance, law enforcement officers should respond.
I mean, I think the way to get this done is, I hate to see enforcement on officers, but I mean, the stand down order that's being given is unlawful. Like, something about this has to be enforceable. Something has to be enforceable.
Yeah, it's kind of when an order comes down not to respond to an area or not to respond to an incident, the only excuse for that would be that proper resources need to be mobilized. So, for instance, you're not going to send one officer if an entire community block is under siege from a riot. But the fact that they were, the reports are that they were told not to respond at all, that's problematic. Now, people have asked whether or not that's a federal crime. Kind of an interesting question as to whether or not it's a federal crime, but it very likely is a dereliction of duty under state law. We don't expect law enforcement officers to look at a burning car on the side of the interstate and say, well, the fire department's not here, they'll just get it, I'll just go do something else. You know, there's plenty of things for them to do, not only rescuing the people inside, but blocking the roadway, keeping the situation from getting worse. And one of the interesting things about these news reports is there doesn't seem to be much detail about what was actually going on and what the officers were responding, what the ICE agents were responding to, what they were faced with. By all accounts, it was a dangerous situation, but more importantly, it was a situation that was rising in acuity and gaining in violence. And that's what we've seen in these communities. We've seen people gathering and offering violence to federal law enforcement. And that's why these apps that were criticized were so particularly dangerous, because basically those apps were allowing people who wanted to do violence to federal officers to gather and mobilize. And if you think about it in an odd way, a stand down order is the antithesis of that.
It's as if the governor, who knows that these Antifa forces and others are mobilizing against ICE, he says, and the pushback to that would be, having law enforcement respond, and we won't do that. So it's a double whammy. It actually strengthens the people who are doing the harm.
Oh, it definitely empowers them. I mean, if they don't think someone's going to respond to stop them, then why wouldn't more of the rioters and the people who wish to do violence to federal officers, why wouldn't more of them respond? Why wouldn't they increase their attacks? Why wouldn't they increase the acuity and frequency of the attacks? And so the federal officers are performing a function that requires their 100% attention. And when you put them on crowd control in addition to what they're trying to do, oddly, and this is where, I said these folks are not thinking this through, you may not be happy about the immigration enforcement, but what you are going to do by saying law enforcement's not going to respond and help in the case of a riot or an attack is you're going to bring more federal resources to that community. They're performing their sworn duties too, and they're not going to stop.
we're going to have to work extra hard to get the right things mobilized here to ensure that the things that we're seeing don't continue. I'm sure President Trump and Tom Homan and others in law enforcement are strategizing how they can push back on this unlawful activity. Thank you so much for coming on again to talk to us about this and to alert us. And we just so badly need to have accurate information and then to be able to operate on that. And so we'll do our best. We'll do exactly this and more. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for calling me attention to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll always do that here, partnering with you. Lance LaRusso is attorney and founder of the Blue Line Lawyer Institute. If you'd like to visit him there, it's bluelinelawyer.com, bluelinelawyer.com. We will be right back. If you'd like to join in, it's 866-95-PATRIOT.
I don't want to go into any of these cities. I just don't. The Mark Levin Show. Because if somebody tries to hurt me or even more, my wife or another family member, I'm not surrendering. If I manage to protect myself or a family member, I'll lose everything. Because the system is not a just system. It's a system about equity, which means I can't win. Even if I'm the good guy, even if it's self-defense. Conservative principles live here. Mark Levin. Weekdays starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Patriot Channel 125. Do you owe the IRS back taxes? Haven't filed in years? You're not alone, and you don't have to face it alone. At Tax Network USA, our licensed tax attorneys and IRS enrolled agents specialize in fast, aggressive tax relief. Whether it's personal taxes, business taxes, or aggressive collection notices and liens, our team has proven strategies on how to stop the pressure and settle your tax debt quickly. Tax Network USA has already helped thousands of clients eliminate over $1 billion in back taxes, penalties, and interest, and we may be able to help you too. Call 800-278-9000 for your free consultation. That's 800-278-9000. Or visit tnusa.com. That's tnusa.com. And yes, we can even help you with your state tax issues too. Call 800-278-9000 for your free consultation. Or visit tnusa.com. On the day of the fire, I had left that morning to fly to Boston. And I left my 16-year-old son here by himself. And it was while he was gone that the fire started. The smoke detector in his room was tied into the... I'm extremely grateful for my alarm system. And it saved my house, it saved my dogs. I don't know where we would be without it. It saved everything that day.
Alarm.com is exclusively available through local service providers. Connect with a pro at Alarm.com today to protect your family, your home, and your business.
Want to hear something scary? Spirits are swirling in the Sirius XM app with creepy Halloween treats. Countdown haunted hits on the Freaky 50. Howl at the Moon with wicked rock specials. Tell on you and unearth more monstrous fun all month long. Then you can monster mash. Just search Halloween on the Sirius XM app if you dare. 866-957-2834. Stacy on the right with Stacy Washington on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
They had absolutely no problem at all whatsoever with political weaponization. What was I gonna do? I let myself go. Now my first life, this night will last forever. I've been thinking of you. It's
I mean, speaking euphemistically, the night does last forever with SiriusXM because we just keep on rocking and rolling, and before you know it, you've got Slater again. So yeah, you're here with me now, and if you're driving truck or if you're on an all-night roll and you've got SiriusXM locked in, you are in the right spot, especially here on Patriot Channel. So thanks for being with us. 866-95-PATRIOT to join the show. All right, I have a little bit of sound. Let's get into a little bit of sound here. First off, just how awesome is it that President Trump is also approving projects? So he just gets so many things done, and this is the nature of the job that he is doing for us. So, this is not odd by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still great to see. It's still wonderful for us. So here's President Donald Trump. He's with reporters in the Oval Office, and there's something called the Ambler Road Project in Alaska. Here he is talking about it.
We have a very big signing today having to do with Alaska, a place that I'm very familiar with. And we're making it greater, bigger, and more powerful, and job producing. It's an economic gold mine, so to speak. And I signed this years ago, and Biden unsigned it for me. It's something that should have been long operating and making billions of dollars for our country and supplying a lot of energy and minerals and everything else that we're talking about. And they undid it and wasted a lot of time and a lot of money, a lot of effort. And now we're starting again, and this time we have plenty of time to get it done, and it's going to be done properly.
Yep. So Ambler Road Project in Alaska. This is something he approved during the first Trump administration. Of course, Biden is such a sore loser. So this is a proposed 211-mile industrial road intended to provide access to the Ambler mining district, facilitating the development of a significant mineral resource, including the mining of copper and cobalt. The project has faced environmental concerns, whatever. Legal challenges, double whatever. But recent approvals have allowed it to move forward. The White House sent out a fact sheet about the Ambler Road project to unlock Alaska's mineral potential. Here are a few highlights. The permits for the road have actually been held out for years in protracted litigation. President Trump is finally basically saying, look, beans and all that, let's go. The decision finds that the road is in the public interest given our need for access to domestic critical minerals. Again, China is locked down so much of these resources abroad. They're all over the planet. So we have them here in our country. And yes, mining is not the prettiest thing in the world, but we need the resources. Or who's giving up their phones first? Everybody who opposes mining for these resources in America, you go ahead and give up your phones, laptops, and other chip-enabled devices. You go first. So the Bureau of Land Management has been directed by President Trump, along with the National Park Service and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, to reissue the necessary permits for the construction. And the U.S. government announced a partnership with Trilogy Metals, investing $35.6 million to support mining exploration in Alaska's Ambler mining district. This investment makes the U.S. government a 10% shareholder in Trilogy Metals and includes warrants to purchase an additional 7.5% of the company. Now, this is vital to our national defense and our economic prosperity and crucial to unlocking critical minerals. Some of the most undeveloped copper and zinc mineral belts in the world. This is one of the largest, containing extensive deposits of copper, silver, gold, lead, cobalt, and other strategic. And this is fantastic. This is good news. And so there. Now, additionally,
Are you guys outside? Yeah, you do need shit. inside. Go inside. Let's go inside. Let's go inside. Let's go inside. Let's go inside. Come on, let's go inside. It's obvious what you guys need. Maybe John been out since Mama's been out. Oh, yeah, good. Nice. Oops. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, Finn. Finn. He's so mad.
So, that's what we have coming up. Glad you could be here for the debut of the Owen Report, your new favorite political talk show. That's right, launching today, 3 to 6 p.m. weekdays Central Time. Glad to be here with you. News update was brought to you by OwenSawyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise. It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer. Six o'clock p.m. Central. We're about to sign off. All right, I said I wanted to do the first show without any ads, so no live reads. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, October 6th, 2025. This is the first ever edition of the Owen Report. Glad to be here with you. Let me tell you what we got coming up for you today. I got a huge stack of news dealing with the latest developments on the Israel-Palestine conflict, which unfortunately continues to dominate our political discussion. Not just in America, but all over the world. And I continue to ask myself the same question. Why does this small group of people in this small part of the planet continue to dominate the geopolitical discussion? Countries in Europe with mass protests, countries in South America, Central America, North America with mass protests for an issue that has nothing to do with them. These are countries that have their own issues.